The financial world around us is ever changing. Markets seem to be more volatile every day. The old rules for retirement are no longer working. Americans aren't sure how to prepare for retirement, and everyone is seeking financial guidance from someone they can trust. Welcome back to Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth Management, Chicago's retirement planning expert.
And welcome in, folks, to another exciting edition of Saving Financial Lives, as we're joined each and every week with Mr. Bill Geiger. He's a trained economist with over 25 years of experience. He's a wealth coach and a financial planner, and president and founder of Geiger Wealth Management. Bill, great to see you again this week.
Great to be here. Great to be talking to you again, and great to be talking to our audience.
So what's on tap this week? Lots of stuff going on in the financial world, that's for sure. And I always look forward to our sit down each week to talk about what's happening. So what do you got on tap this week?
Well, I thought we would revisit a conversation that we had a few weeks ago. We talked about an issue in preparing for retirement that has just generated a lot of interest from our show. So I thought we'd kind of go over that again for folks that didn't have an opportunity to listen that day maybe. And even somebody that's heard it before might like to hear it again. Here's the problem, and it's a blessing and a problem. And the blessing part is we're living a lot longer. Routinely, we have clients in our office that have one or two parents between the couple are in their 90s. A few weeks ago, we had a lady whose mother is 103 years old, and she's still going strong. And so because of advances in medicine and healthcare, we're living a lot longer. That's the blessing. The problem is we may not be able to afford to. In other words, if you're living into your 90s and you retire at 65, that's 25 plus more years that you're on this earth that your retirement portfolio's got to last you. Now think about that. I mean, think about where you were at 25 years ago. How long a time period that has been. And imagine living that long of a time period no longer receiving a paycheck. And your source of income is your Social Security, primarily, and then what you might be taking out of your portfolio. Now, the way we used to deal with this when we retired was we'd put a big chunk of the money, our retirement money, into bonds, and the bonds would pay us interest, and we kind of lived on that. And we'd take a smaller piece of our retirement money and we'd keep it in the market, and that was our inflation hedge. That's how we were going to get growth to give ourselves some more income down the road. But we primarily were depending upon a bond portfolio. Here's the problem. Interest rates are at historic lows. A 5-year jumbo CD pays 1.4%.
Right.
Now, if you put $1 million into 1.4%, you're getting $14,000 a year. You can't live on that. If you put it in municipal bonds, the average 10-year municipal bond is only paying 1.8%. That's $18,000 out of $1 million. How can you live on that? I know it's after tax, but $18,000? So what do you do to have some growth in your portfolio, and what do you do to live on this money? More and more and more people, Pete, have been putting their money all into the stock market, into mutual funds. Right. And their brokers have helped them with this, and they've said, look, the long-term historic return on the stock market is about 10%. That's true over 75 years, and that's the average. That doesn't mean what's going to happen to you. There's this old joke about the economist who drowned in a river with an average depth of 5 feet. He happened to be standing in a 10-foot hole. The fact that the average depth was 5 feet didn't save him. He drowned because he was in the wrong place. So the averages don't always work out for you. And I'll give you an example of that. And this is what has raised so much interest in the folks that have been calling into our show. We had a couple come in, 77-year-old couple, and back in 2000, they retired at the age of 65, and they had $1 million portfolio.
All right.
And their broker told them, look, this is the long-term return on the stock market is 10%, and we're going to do that for you. And you can take out 5% a year and really not worry about things because you're taking out 5%, we're growing it at 10, right?
Right.
So even though you're taking money out, your portfolio is going to continue to grow. And, as it grows down the road, we'll increase the amount of money that we're sending you. And a couple, remember, we just came out of the late 90s and the market's going up 20, 30% a year. And this couple said, well, it sounds pretty good. So they retired and they took $50,000 out of their account. They had $1 million account. So immediately their million went to $950,000. But no problem because we're going to grow it at 10% a year on average. Well, as you remember, we went into a pretty big downturn in 2001, 2002. Well, by the summer of 2003, this $1 million portfolio, through a combination of taking out $50,000 a year and the stock market going down, their $1 million portfolio had more than cut in half. It's down to $497,000 3 years later. Yeah, ouch. And the couple was telling us this story, and he said, I called my broker and I said, I'm pretty worried right now. And the broker says, don't worry about it. I've been doing this for a long time. The long-term track record of the stock market is 10% a year. Stay the course. Don't panic. I know what I'm doing. And, folks, if you probably heard some of this stuff before. Well, this couple said, okay, we like the guy. We've been with him for a long time. We'll stay the course. So their account was $497,000, and for the next 4 years, from 2003 to 2007, the stock market went up. The problem was, even though it's going up, the money they were taking out now was such a big percentage of what they had left. By the summer of 2007, they'd only made it up to $529,000.
Ooh.
Now, they were holding their own, kind of, and they actually had made a little bit of progress.
Right.
So, they were a little more relaxed, but not really. Well, then we had 2008, 2009 down, and by summer of 2009, their portfolio was down to $237,000 from $1 million.
Wow.
They came into our office, and their $1 million portfolio was down to $184,000.
I wouldn't even know what to do. I would kind of be in somewhat of a panic, I would think.
Well, they were. Remember, they retired when they were 65.
Right.
It's 12 years later, they're 77 years old. They're healthy.
Right.
They play tennis. They play golf. They like to travel. They're physically and mentally, they're young. And they've got a lot of years left in their lives, but they don't have a lot of years left in their portfolio. At this rate, they'll run out of money in 3 or 4 years. So they're going to be in their early 80s with no portfolio left.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's just, they wanted to know how we could help them, and we're working at helping them, but, they've got 80% of their assets, 85% of their assets are gone. So
right.
It's really, really hard to do anything at this point. Maybe this is a good time to stop for a second.
Okay.
And folks, if you're concerned about this, you're worried about the stock market going forward, as frankly I am. I'm an optimist, but with everything that's going on in the economy and in Europe and with the election and with the Federal Reserve, and the next 10 years could be like the last 10 years. That's my fear. And if that's your fear too, and you're looking to prepare for retirement, and you're worried about this, for the first 5 callers who call in today, we're going to do a full-blown financial plan, second opinion. It's a $3,000 value that we normally charge for this. We're going to give it out absolutely free and complimentary, no obligation, to the first 5 callers who have at least $500,000 saved for retirement. We'll do a complete analysis of your portfolio. We'll help you understand what it's costing you, what you're paying to have your portfolio run, what the real true risk level is in your portfolio, how much income you might realistically be able to get out of it. And maybe for the first time ever, you're going to really understand what you own, what you expect it to do, and whether or not it's going to meet your needs. We'll run a tax analysis. We'll show you how you can get more income with paying less taxes. We're going to show people how this all works together with what they're trying to accomplish. So for the first 5 callers, that's a $3,000 value. We're going to give away complimentary a full-blown financial plan.
You know, Bill, after hearing your story, I think it's a great opportunity for, people to really sit down and really get a true plan put together. And I'm very happy to know that you're making an offer like this, because it's really going to help a lot of people translate, the complex financial planning process into, very clear instructions. So this is an excellent chance for anyone listening right now to get that true second opinion on what's going on with you right now. It's 800-681-2498 is the number to call in. Again, that's 800-681-2498, 800-681-2498. Bill says that he wants to offer you the free, full-blown financial plan. It's a $3,000 value, but only for the next 5 callers. So call in right now and take advantage of this opportunity. Get that second opinion. It's 800-681-2498, 800-681-2498. Again, 800-681-2498. Bill, I'm sure there's so many people out there that are really thinking they probably too need a second opinion, considering what's going on right now.
Well, it's a little scary, and
it is.
And I keep waiting for it to become less scary, and it just keeps getting a little more scary. It's just
right.
Wow. Yeah, I've been doing this for 28 years, and I watched Black Monday with the stock market drop 20% in a day, and I've been through some market cycles in my career, and this one has got me spooked. It really does.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how we go about fixing something like this that we just talked about. We had another couple come in who were 60 years old. Now, they don't want to retire until they're 68, so that's 8 years. But they're concerned about some of the things we were just talking about. And they've got $1.5 million portfolio. And what we decided to do was to take $1 million of that $1.5 million and put it into a retirement income annuity.
Okay.
Now, as you'll recall from our other shows, retirement income annuities are kind of a hybrid. They go up with the stock market, but not down with it. They're protected.
Right.
So you never have to lose money in them. Your gains are locked in on an annual basis. Your portfolio can go up and not down. Now, if you stopped there, what a great thing to put in your portfolio. What a great part of your portfolio. But the real strength of the retirement income annuities is that they have riders attached to them that guarantee a high level of retirement income. A high level of retirement income that you cannot outlive. You can never run out of money. And the way they work is the longer the money's there, the higher the guaranteed income.
Right.
So this couple is 60 years old. They're going to have the money there for at least 8 years. That's when they want to retire. And we sat down and figured out that irrespective of what the market does over the next 8 years and on into their retirement, when they're ready to retire in 8 years, because of this rider that guarantees the high level of retirement income, they're going to have an income of at least $107,000 a year.
Wow.
That they cannot run out of. Now, remember,
right.
we talked about the couple with $1 million portfolio in mutual funds that was only taking out $50,000, and they're going to run out of money. In the retirement income annuity for the same amount of money, these folks are going to be able to take out $107,000 a year, more than double, and be guaranteed to receive that money for the rest of their lives. They don't have to worry about what happens to the stock market, whether it goes up or down, how much money they make. They're guaranteed to never run out of money. $107,000 a year. Now, we're taking the other $500,000 and we're managing that for them in a diversified mutual fund portfolio, and that's their ultimate inflation hedge. The bulk of their portfolio is protected. It's guaranteed. And the income that they're going to receive in 8 years is guaranteed too. It's going to be at least $107,000. So they put that $107,000 together with their 2 Social Securities and a small pension, and they're right up around $150,000 guaranteed income for life. And they still have a $500,000 portfolio of mutual funds that we're going to manage for them. And over time, and we can wait for that to grow, because if it goes down in the short term, it's not going to affect their lifestyle because they're not taking money out of that. We can still grow that, and they don't have to lose any sleep at night because they know that their retirement is set up now. It's really, really a powerful solution. On the one hand, we've got a couple that has been retired for 12 years, and their $1 million portfolio is down to $184,000. And on the other hand, we've got a couple that whenever they retire, they can take out more than double the money, $107,000, and never, ever, ever worry about running out of money. Pretty powerful, wouldn't you say?
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's an added benefit to this, too. The gentleman happens to be a physician.
Okay.
He's 60 years old, and he really likes what he's doing, and he doesn't plan on retiring for the 8 years until he's 68. But there is something else that he worries about, and as a physician, he worries about malpractice lawsuits. It doesn't matter how good a physician you are these days, you could get sued. I mean, it seems like there's a lawyer.
People are sue happy.
Yeah, there's a lawyer in every other corner. There's a billboard I used to see, and it advertised a website, and the website was whocanisuetoday.com.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the kind of society we're living in. Well, retirement income annuities in the state of Florida are creditor-proof. What that means is somebody sues you, they can't touch that money.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So he's got $1 million that can't be touched. That's going to produce a 6-figure income for him when he retires. The other thing he told me, he says, Bill, between reductions in Medicare and Obamacare coming on right now, he says, I have got to work harder and harder, see more patients work longer hours to make the same amount of money. And he says, I love what I do. I love my patients. He says, but I'm getting a little tired, and I don't want to work for the rest of my life.
Right.
I don't want to be working when I'm 75 years old. He says, I'll work till 68, and it's such a relief for me to know I've got a 6-figure income coming in, and I don't have to worry about it now. And he says, I'm going to enjoy the last few years of working. And he says, I'll still save money. He says, but I know I've got this taken care of. So it was a real powerful solution for he and his wife. They get to sleep now, which is a good thing, right? Let's do this again for folks that have been listening to this and think they've got some questions about their own portfolio. They'd like to understand how this might work for them. Maybe they have questions about the risk involved. Maybe you're a physician, you're worried about lawsuits. Who knows? But for the next 5 callers who call in today, Pete, we're going to do a full-blown financial plan. That's a $3,000 value. We're going to give it out absolutely free and complimentary with no obligation whatsoever to the next 5 callers who call in who have at least $500,000 saved up for retirement. We're going to do a complete analysis of your portfolio. We'll run Morningstars. We'll run risk analysis. We'll run fee reports to show you how much it's costing you to work with your advisor. We'll help you understand what the true risk level is in your portfolio. And perhaps most importantly, we'll help you understand what type of income you can expect to get out of that portfolio. We'll run a tax analysis to show you how you might receive more income in retirement and pay less taxes. We do that all the time. And Pete will show folks how this all works together with what they're trying to accomplish. So it's a full-blown financial plan. It's a $3,000 value. We're going to give it out absolutely free and complimentary to the next 5 callers who call in who have at least $500,000 saved up for retirement.
You know, Bill, I believe it's a good chance for people to sit down and get a true plan put together. And I'm happy to know that you're making an offer like this because it's really going to help them translate the complex financial planning process into something very, very clear and understandable. Folks, it's an excellent chance for you to get a true practical financial plan. So for anyone listening right now, the number to call is 800-681-2498. 800-681-2498. Again, that's 800-681-2498. Bill says if you have at least $500,000 saved for retirement, he wants to make sure that you never run out of that money. That's great stuff. He wants to make sure that you have a true plan in place, and he wants to make sure that you get educated on your true financial situation. Again, it's a full-blown financial plan, analyzing where you are now, but most importantly, a roadmap to get you to where you need to be. So again, that number to call is 800-681-2498. 800-681-2498. Again, that's 800-681-2498. The next 5 callers who meet Bill's qualifications. 800-681-2498. Good opportunity for many people out there.
I couldn't agree with you more. It looks like we're coming up to a hard break. Folks in the listening audience, I want you to have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and God bless.